And we are back. All right, so that was Post-Apocalyptic Job Center. Great short film, and we were just kind of talking about this over when it was playing. But what something that I really liked about this was the production design and the details within this film. And one of the signs is actually behind you right now, hanging up on the wall, which I noticed immediately, by the way. But I like a lot of these details. And you mentioned that there's some details that people sort of glance over. But
Mm.
I personally think that that's the stuff that sort of draws people into a film. Could you mention a couple of the things that you put into it that people won't necessarily notice? For example, you mentioned the not the abbreviation, but the lettering of the department is a
Yeah.
spoof on what the actual lettering is, and it's not something that anybody really notices.
Yeah. In the UK, we the people that look after the job centre and sort it out is the Department for Work and Pensions. And I didn't actually realise I was making this play on words initially. I just thought it sounded funny. But the actual in the Post-Apocalyptic Job Centre,
Mm-hmm.
the department is the Department for Workforce Loss Prevention. And we had a little giggle about that when we came up with it. But it's on his, it's outside plastered on the wall, and it's on his little job centre booklet, which is actually sort of a real booklet. I think even because my girlfriend's sort of went through the booklet and took an official template, changed a little bit, and the wording in it, even though we never see it inside the booklet, is actually all changed and like zombie specific and that kind of thing. Just because we thought that was quite fun. It was never going to make it on screen, but it was a little detail that we just kind of enjoyed making.
Well,
Um,
sometimes that's the fun part of making movies, though. It's the little tiny things that you can throw in there. They could be inside jokes.
mm.
They could be stuff like that, and it's stuff like that that always, at least for me, keeps me coming back to make movies. It's that kind of stuff that kind of makes me laugh.
And
Keeps
it gives
somewhat
you
sane
it,
during the making of
it
the
gives
movie.
you a little bit of joy when someone notices it. It's just nice. It's just like, oh, someone actually picked it out and they laughed at it, and I was like, oh, that makes me feel really happy inside. For example, another one, which is the Bandit, who has the newspaper, is actually a newspaper we created from scratch. Again, my girlfriend worked on it, but it's got a thing about sort of a hint to how the apocalypse started from like a superbug, which was based on sort of the real thing that was happening in the UK in like 2018.
Hmm.
The creation of because our underground system, our tube system, um, there was a big scare about superbugs being created on the underground because people are touching all the time and spreading bugs and disease. And there's I think it is now still a big problem that out of out of our underground might come an unstoppable superbug that will kill everyone. So yeah, great times in the UK. But yeah, his newspaper has got a little bit of that, and it has actually like headlines and articles on it. Again, zombie specific, like a crowd that literally tore the stands apart at a football game, and started like eating the players and that sort of thing.
Well,
He probably would.
that's something for something like this. You kind of need those details for it.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes into like the costuming as well as this, as we sort of mentioned some of the set design and everything like that, but the costuming, and specifically there's this one guy where our main character sits down next to him. He's
Mm.
this big burly guy with a beard. How did you find that guy? But he was perfect.
Well, we used. I think we used a website called Star Now. I don't know if you've got it over there, but if you use it at all.
We
But
might. I'm
there's
not sure.
it's a website where you can find sort of lower tier actors and kind of get favors and stuff. And I'm doing something. Go away. Go. Sorry, that was my dad. Yeah, we found him on Star now, and he just looked the part. He literally came with the beard and that thing, and he usually plays bandits and thugs and that sort of thing. So he was just perfect. We barely had to do anything to him apart from give him like a scars and that sort of stuff. And that's a lot. That's really where we got a lot of our extras from, and they're all really great on the day. There was a lot of waiting around, and they just helped. They handled it like absolute champions. Um,
Well,
yeah,
as they say in the film industry, it is a lot of hurry up and wait,
mm.
especially for actors.
um,
uh,
because
yeah.
the last scene with the zombies outside the gate,
Hmm.
they were standing out there for a really long time. Um, and we kind of impromptu made that ending on the day because a main extra hadn't turned up, and I went with the main actor and just like, what's the funniest resolution we can have right now? And that's we sort of like spitballed and came up with him running out the gate and then veering off to the left with his rubber mallet in tow. But yeah, cast and crew were fantastic on the film. I'd give absolutely mad, brilliant respect to them. I'm so glad they helped out.
Well, how many people did you have on your crew, out of curiosity? And don't be ashamed to say there was like hardly anyone. That's perfectly fine. I love stories like that.
This was my first big time big film, and we really went all out with it. I self-funded it. I think the budget at the end of it was about £11,000, which I just kind of worked to save up for, and with jobs and that sort of thing. But I think when we're saying it to people, we say there are actually 60 people involved with the actual film. But on screen, I think that came down to about 40 because a lot of extras just didn't turn up on the day. Really, we had to literally. That's why we had to imprompt the ending a little bit, because we had so many people drop out last minute. But yeah, on paper about 60, on the actual film about 40, and the actual crew consisted of about 10 people. We had like DOP, 2 sound people, runners. We had like two runners. Yeah, we had about 10 crew, and the rest were kind of cast, and yeah. Which also,
I actually find that pretty impressive, because that's more than half of the stuff that we shoot. Usually it's just, a couple of friends, myself, behind the scenes, because we're just quickly shooting something, And no, I think that's really, and I think it paid off, for the record. I think it paid off. I love the look of the film. I love how quick and snappy the edits are, particularly during the interview. The interview could have been really boring, and it wasn't.
In the first guy, the first rough cut of the film, I absolutely hated, because the pacing wasn't quite there, and like the interview, like you said, it just dragged on and it just kind of didn't come together. Like I edited I kind of got the basic sequence that we see now edited and that sort of thing, but all the special effects and all the tweaking kind of was done by a friend and his company of mine. Tom Ridgewell, or Tomska from Tomska, basically. He was a friend of mine that helped out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he basically he's the post-production coordinator role, and his team just worked absolute wonders on it, and it made it kind of what it is today.
Did he edit it, or was that somebody else?
He overlooked the editing. Like, he was in control. He basically brought all his like team and people that he knew onto it, and they sorted out the sounds, the visual effects, the actual edit of the sequence was tightened up as well, and just it was really hammered out in the edit and made it a lot better than I could have kind of possibly achieved by myself. Like, there was no way I was going to reach that level, because I just don't know what they knew, so kind of lucked out in that regard.
Sure. Like you were mentioning before, you're self-taught essentially, right?
Yeah, I went to secondary school or college. Well, our version of college, because your version of college over there is basically university. Yeah, we came out of secondary school, and I had some placements and that kind of thing, just training, and just from there I decided to just have a crack at it and see how far I could get. And it's sort of starting to pan out a little bit. It's starting to actually go in my direction, because my background's post-production. And that took me sort of in a good direction, but then I realized I sort of want to get more into kind of production and directing and that sort of thing. But yeah, so I've been doing it for about 5 years now, sort of amateurishly, because I don't think I count myself as a professional yet. I keep just making my own stuff. I don't know.
I think that's the fun part. When you do stuff for yourself or whatever, I think that's when you make the best stuff. I think it's just, you definitely make the stuff that is the most interesting, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you very much.
No, I was really impressed with the film, and again, I'm very glad that we had it here. I wanted to play it, wanted to have you on the show, and I'm glad you joined us.
It's been a lovely time.
Yeah, so again, to sort of wrap this up,
Sure.
sort of let's end this with you promoting your YouTube channel, your company, or however you wish to call it, and who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, so it's sort of company. It's again a funny name that we kind of came up with, but under the label of Last Minute Productions. So if you type that into YouTube, you'll come to our channel. We've got about 3 other films on there that would be worth your time. I would say. Other one is probably called Grizzly. It's a short horror film with a twist that no one has yet been able to work out before it happens. And yeah, just basically trying to make it.
We played that here too. We played that here on the last
yeah,
ANP.
of course you did. Yeah, I hope people enjoyed it. I wasn't able to catch the streaming of it, but I really hope people enjoyed that. But yeah, I'm trying to just a filmmaker trying to make it as a director, and it's kind of going okay at the moment. And looking to collab on people's things, basically. Really looking for like a writer that I can get behind and just kind of make another project with, do the next big thing, basically.
All right. Well, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on here, Liam. I'm gonna let you go now. We're gonna play our next film, which is called Noise Complaint. Oh, that was a doozy. And all right. So thank you again so much for joining. And
no worries. Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And all right. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, here's Noise Complaint.